Welcome to episode 3 of the Prestin Sexton podcast. I'm your host, Preston Duville. Sitting across from me is my co-host, Gabriel Sexton. How are you doing today, Gabe?
Well, I'm pretty damn tired, but, that's what we all wanted, right? Maybe.
As we were saying in episode 2, today's episode will be dedicated to the new movie, Marvel's Eternals, the newest addition to the MCU. So, Gabriel, I think we should just start right away. So I just want you to say a couple of things you liked about the movie.
Well, I really liked the way it looked. And we just went and saw it, just to preface this. We went and saw it at 5:45. It's, it's 10 o'clock. Holy hell, it's 10 o'clock. But, I really liked the way this movie looked. I liked the fact there were so many nods to history. I'm kind of a history nerd. I know there's a lot of people out there that follow us, our 20 viewers, that really like history. So I do enjoy that. They talk a lot about just what it means to be human, and I think that's a great debate.
And I just want to point out, Gabe, we're up to like 30 listeners.
Wow. Well, can we get it to 50 by the end of this week?
Who knows? Maybe we can.
We have fans out there. I know we have fans. Somewhere. Oh my goodness. It's going to be a great episode today.
Oh, I already know it is.
What was one thing that you really liked about it?
Like you said, I really liked the visuals.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the visuals were brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd say it's probably the second best visuals we've had in the MCU so far. My first one would be like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Yeah.
But these are a pretty close second behind them. I mean, for being CGI, a lot of CGI, it looked really good.
Yeah, I especially liked the way the Deviants looked in terms of CGI. I thought it gave them kind of a good mix of like an animalistic type look, but they weren't animals, they were something else, and they looked like they were like foreign, but not foreign. I really enjoyed the way they designed him.
Yeah, and I mean, another thing I really liked was how they made the Celestials look. Like, they really showed the scale, just how huge these things are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really liked the way how they like showed the scale, just how large these things are. Like, and they're supposed to be. They're kind of like the Marvel gods with a capital G.
Mm-hmm. I especially, I guess we should say preface spoilers a little bit, I suppose, but right at the end where it has Arishem, I was going to say Aramesh, but Arishem, and he's overviewing the Earth, and you can just see those eyes, and I'm like, oh, that's so ominous. It's so neat.
You know what it kind of reminded me of?
What?
Like The Watcher, and
oh, true.
In like the What If episodes, like how he'd be in the sky and you'd
always kind of see him. Yeah, he was always in one or two of those, and I definitely agree with that. That I like the fact that they did give him like a god sort of feel. I thought they did well with that, of setting up like, oh, this guy he's the dude. He's the guy.
And to talk more on the visuals, like the fighting scenes.
Outstanding.
This was one of the best ways to show how like, this is how speedsters are supposed to look on film.
It didn't look like it was like the Flash show where he's like running, like no one can see it besides you, but he runs like this and he's talking.
Yeah. It wasn't.
You're the only one that got to see that.
Yeah, and boy, was it something else.
I know. Perfect imitation.
But I mean, it kind of just made it look so raw. Like, you know what I mean when I say that? Like her running scenes.
It gave you a good scale for a power.
Yeah, it almost looked real.
I'd agree. I would agree with that.
So, Gabe, what else did you like about the movie?
I do like the fact that Festus is gay, but he's not like a fastidious queen. He's not like, oh, we're gonna go save the universe? Yes, let's go get it. Let's go do this. Yes, queen. He's like, Well, I love my family. He's not like I love my boyfriend that I'm gay with. I love to be gay, 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 gay. No, it's not very in your face, and I like the fact that he's a well-written character that just happens to be gay and not a gay-written character.
Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. I like that. I like the fact that Makari was deaf. There's a lot of diversity in this film, which is, I'm a big fan. I love diversity.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not forced diversity. Like, you kind of know what I mean there. It's like, it felt natural.
Right, and it wasn't like these are powerful because she's deaf and he's gay. Yeah. It was like, well, they just are characters that are strong that happen to be...
I mean, how it is in real life. It's like...
Right, that's why I enjoyed it. That wasn't their main character, or their main characteristic.
Yeah, it's like their whole character wasn't built around them being gay, or being deaf, or being a Bollywood movie star.
Right. Like, I agree, and that's one thing I think the movie gets well, actually. And sometimes it's hard to make a movie with diversity and not have it be forced.
Yeah, and so that's why I also don't get all this hate on it for people saying it's forced diversity.
It does not feel that way.
I didn't
get that vibe.
I think it's just people angry that there's a gay character.
Oh my God, he's not a straight white guy? What? What is this?
Or that, like, the main, 3 or 4 main characters are female and not, like you said, a white guy.
Right, and it doesn't feel like Cersei does not feel like she's definitely the main character, obviously, but she's not the main character because she's a woman. Like, there are a lot of storylines going on with her, too much in my opinion, but one of the things I feel like they get right is the fact she's a badass. We like badass women, obviously.
Oh, of course.
Badass queens, you gotta love them.
And we'll be talking about more badass women soon.
Soon. Your time will come.
Well, I'll just jump right into the next thing I really liked about this movie was the cast. I mean, you got Angelina Jolie, Kit Harington, Selma Hayek.
I did not like the fact they debated us with Kit Harington. No, I didn't like that. I'm like, he's in the movie for 2 minutes, maybe.
But hey, it's setting up a badass character in Black Knight, so I don't hate it. But I mean, even like Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah.
And I mean, like,
Selma Hayek is pretty... She's always kind of a badass. I loved her. I've actually really liked her as an actress since she played... what was her name? Frida Kahlo in a movie, and she was great as Frida Kahlo. Love Frida Kahlo.
Plus, I mean, we got Harry Styles.
Yeah, that was kind of out of left field.
Yeah, and I kind of didn't notice him right away, like, recognize who it was. I'm, like, sitting there like, that guy looks super familiar, but I can't put a face to an actor.
I turned to you, I was like, sex god. I was like, sex god on the screen, Preston.
And I was like, it looks like Harry Styles. And you're like... It is Harry Styles. And I'm like, oh, that's why I couldn't notice who it was.
Like, well, that's why you bring me to a movie, Preston. So I can tell you.
Of course, Harry Styles is going to play, like, the god of love.
He is as bowed as a pop culture icon of just love and sex as anyone could possibly be in this day and age.
Like, I see what Marvel's doing. They're getting, like...
They know they game.
The big male sex symbol right now. To market toward women.
What? That's a hot take over there.
Like, I can see what you're doing, Marvel.
Why would they include Harry Styles in this movie? And I'm like, bing, because...
Market toward the teenage women.
Oh! What? It's like they want to make money.
Yeah. Oh, Disney would never want to make money.
No, why would Disney want to make money?
But like I said, I don't hate the casting. Like,
no, that's one of the things... We'll get to the stuff I don't like. But I agree. There are a lot of characters I feel like just fit. Especially John Madden as Icarus. Like the Superman type vibe.
You mean Richard Madden?
Did I say Richard?
Or Dick Madden.
What did I say, John Madden?
Yeah, you said John Madden.
You got Madden on in the background. I was looking at John Madden. I was looking at it. I thought John Madden. But Richard Madden in this movie is actually... I like his character. His motivations, I think, are a little too simple, but I understand them.
Yeah, so was there anything else you really liked about the movie?
I really liked the fight scenes. I liked the way everything looked. That's about it. I like the way that it's set up.
I mean, the score was pretty decent, I thought.
It was, if you're talking about the score, it means it was either really, really good or it was really, really bad. It was
just a pretty mid score.
It was something I didn't notice, but it gave gravity to moments.
Yeah, like it definitely enhanced some moments.
I would agree.
Especially when there was a celestial in presence of it. So they kind of had that like dark, eerie score going on.
Very ominous.
And the score made the celestial seem bigger. Does that make sense?
I would agree, and that's the way music should be. They should add an element to scenes, for sure.
Yeah, so nothing else you want to add that you just liked about the movie?
No, because I'm going to delve into what I don't like.
Okay, so I'll let you just dive into what you didn't like right away.
Here's what I don't like about the movie, and I think you're going to agree with me. I think the character motivations in this movie are dog shit. I don't like them. I think the worst part of the movie is the fact Kingo's like, I don't want to be a part of this because I think this guy's right. And they didn't set that up. In fact, I thought he would be the number one guy of let's change our ways. They
kind of set it up, like how Kingo said, like when he was talking to Icarus on the ship, like, I'm with you till the end. Well, he kind of had the thing like where he didn't want to hurt his family, but he also didn't want to go against his purpose.
Right, but they didn't set that up, and that's my problem. In the whole movie, at what point were you like, oh, this guy kind of has a duty to do his job?
Yeah, like, I kind of got, like, the dark undertone from, of course, Icarus, but what was the mind control dude's name? Druig. Yeah, I kind of got, like, dark undertones from him, so I thought he was going to be, like, kind of the other one that breaks off from the group.
It's funny because you could rate them all on, like, a scale of, like, chaotic good, neutral, or whatever, and to me, Druig is, like, a chaotic good he definitely wants peace and love, hippie stuff, 2 peace signs, green tea, but... the way of doing it, the way that he did it is wrong. You can't just mind control a bunch of people and tell them
and force them to just be good. Like it kind of, I don't know how to explain this, but it takes away like their freedom almost. It suppresses them.
If Icarus is chaotic bad, and I'd argue he's really not. He's more of like a chaotic neutral. In a way, like he just does what he thinks is right, which I guess is not a bad motivation. I'm going to get right down to the other thing I really, really hate, Preston. That's Sprite. She got clocked with a rock, and I cheered. You were there. I stood up. I was like, yes! Yes!
I have to agree with you. Like, I've seen TikToks of people just like, I hate this bitch. And it's like, yeah, I can agree.
I didn't understand. They're like, oh, well, she loves Icarus. They said it 3 times. That was it. It was the whole time, and they didn't give you any motivation as to why.
It's like she was willing to stab, like, the person she was living with for thousands of years over a guy that she hasn't seen for thousands of years.
She had a crush on. She had a crush. Yeah. You ever been that in love? You ever want to just, I don't know, stab one of your friends for someone you love?
Yeah, I can't say I have.
Well, that makes one of us. I'm psychotic, in case anybody has ever questioned it. I'm kidding, folks. Fingers crossed I lied about that one.
So I'm going to kind of go with what I didn't like now about this, is that it was just too much. Too many characters, I thought.
We talked about this while we were eating the McDicks of
Don't say McDick's.
McDick's? What? Oh, McDonald's. Oh, you want me to call him McDonald's? Whatever. Don't be so squeamish.
But yeah, I felt like there was just too many characters. Like, you almost didn't get attached to any of them because of how many there were. Like, there was no substance to them.
It was spread too thin.
It's like the only characters I really had a real attachment to, was because of who plays them. It's like, I liked Angelina Jolie's character because I like Angelina Jolie. I liked Icarus.
Kick-ass.
Well, Icarus, I liked Icarus
as a character. I agree.
Like, as a person, yeah, he's kind of a shitty human being.
He's a fun guy to root against.
But yeah, he's a fun guy to root against.
Understand his motivation.
But he's a good character. He's a good villain.
I agree. I had nothing. Believe it or not, I don't believe it's that great of a movie. Icarus as a villain, top tier.
Yeah, and it's like Kingo, because I like Kumail Nanjiani.
I did not like his character. I do like Kumail Nanjiani. I think he plays Kingo really well. Don't like his character.
So I think we should get like a Kingo and Dane Whitman go to White Castle type movie now.
A stoner. Great stoner movie. Oh my god.
Or, it'd be hilarious if his character, like his Bollywood actor character type thing, made a movie that's like him and someone else getting just super high and going somewhere.
That'd be a great April Fool's.
That'd just be like a great like Easter egg.
I agree. I would agree with that. What was the other thing that we didn't like? Oh, I'm going to tell you, and this is one of my better points I've ever thought of. Here's what I really like about Shang-Chi, is that they kind of drop you in the middle of the story, right?
Yeah.
And you figure things out as the characters are figuring things out. And you don't really know much, and you just keep going, and there's like a little piece every time, and you're like, oh, that makes sense. And then by like the end of the second act of Shang-Chi, you kind of have a clue what's going on. And in this one, they kind of did the same thing. But they didn't explain jack shit. And that's kind of the hard part for me, is that they drop you kind of right in the middle, and they try to do that where they go back and they try and explain of, well, what is everyone's motivation? Why are they all pissed off? It just doesn't work for me in this one.
It's like, there's a few characters that I can see like why they would be pissed off. And that would be like Angelina Jolie's character had a pretty good backstory. Like, she has I can't remember what it's called. Mad Wearies, where she's all ballistic and shit.
It's like rampancy.
You had Festus. Like, his character was good. It was just wanted to save his family.
I liked his motivation. Again,
yeah, like that's his motivation.
His character.
What other you don't need any more motivation than that, just to save save the people he's got a connection to.
There's no one in the family that can't connect to that.
And then Gilgamesh. I liked his whole storyline of him like protecting Thena.
Mm-hmm.
And like kind of shows kind of like their family dynamic almost, because like how they didn't want to let Thena die, and how he would rather spend like the next thousands of years taking care of her and making sure like that she's continues to live on. And that's a lot to sacrifice.
I agree. I kind of like, I should say, this is one of the other things I like, that one of the main theme in this movie is the fact that if you love something, you protect it. And I think that's such a great storyline to follow, especially with Thena and Gilgamesh. Like, well, he loved her, not as like a romantic type, but as a friend.
Yeah, friend or family.
Again, yeah, if you love something, you protect it. Like, that's the theme of this movie.
That's why when I hate it when they bring up in a movie, if you love something, let it free. Like, nah, I hate that.
Like, no, grip it tightly, never let it go, ever.
Like, nah, man, that's not what you do. Okay, so I'm going to talk about one thing I didn't like. Let's be honest, Cersei. Like,
just not an interesting character to me.
Like, you chose, out of everyone you could have chose to be the leader of Eternals, you chose the most boring character.
Like, what is significant about her?
Like, her character is
she loves humanity.
Her character is just isn't very interesting.
Again, the motivations in this movie suck. Like, why is she trying to save Earth? Because she likes it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what she wants to save
like,
for. It's that simple.
Personally, I would have rather had like a Festus or like Athena take like the leader role in this movie.
I would agree with you.
Yeah, like, especially Athena, because I mean, like, she's just a badass.
I one thing though I will not include. I liked Ajax's motivation of like, it was this Earth that brought everyone back, so why should they be sacrificed?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point.
Yeah, and that's the thing of, you kind of get the sense Icarus agrees, but he's definitely in the mindset that this is my job. This is what I do. This is my job.
Yeah, it's like, well, they did, but this place wouldn't be the way it was if it wasn't for God, like the God himself.
Right, Arishem.
Yeah, I still haven't learned names yet, if you couldn't tell.
It's either Aramesh or Arishem.
Like, there's like 20 different names to learn.
I know. And that's why we don't like this movie.
That's why you don't like this movie. I don't dislike this movie.
We talked about this, that it's a decent movie. It feels very Justice League-y. And we talked about this too.
Even down to the heroes.
You're like, well, Athena is Wonder Woman.
Icarus is Superman. Super strength, can fly, and has laser
eyes. He's super strong too. Well, you already said that. God, I'm tired.
And then you have
the
like
speedster,
Makari, who's
the Flash.
The Flash. You have Festus, who could either be Batman or Cyborg.
That was my thought too. Like, he can just build things out of the blue. It just, yeah, like Druig, I guess you could claim as a Martian Manhunter, because he can control people. He has telepathic abilities. But here's the thing. We have seen the evil Superman story now for the last like couple years between,
which is amazing, by the way.
Oh, it is. I'm not saying it's not.
The Injustice story.
Injustice is great. I don't know if you've ever seen The Boys.
I haven't.
You're gonna want to change that, because it gave off very much Homelander vibes to me. And the one thing that when I thought of the movie was that we've gotten the evil Superman story quite a bit. And I'm not saying it was a bad story of Icarus being. It wasn't like he was overtly evil. He just was misguided. And I think those are the best villains, in my opinion, are ones where you can kind of sympathize with them, not empathize. Jen, if you're listening, we had some takeaways from class. But yeah, those are the best villains in my mind, are those you can certainly look at and understand a little bit.
It's kind of something Marvel hasn't been the greatest at, our villains.
Thanos is a great villain.
Like, the big ones are. Like, the big villains are. But, like, the solo movie villains, you got, like, Whiplash, like, okay.
Although
the Mandarin from Iron Man 3.
Shang-Chi's dad is pretty cool.
Oh, I have to agree with you there.
I forget what his name is.
But that's like Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I was just thinking of that. Ghost. Or Yellow Jacket.
Yellow Jacket from the Ant-Man movies.
Red Skull's good.
Okay, I do like Red Skull.
Don't mind him.
But you could have done so much more with him.
I agree.
It's like, well, Loki, of course, was great.
He's great, but would you say the villain of the first Thor movie is Loki or the Destroyer?
I'd say it's probably Loki. The Destroyer's kind of like a side villain, like
true.
Kind of like what were they called in this movie?
The Deviants.
The Deviants were kind of like a secondary villain.
Yeah, don't even get me started on the Alpha Deviant. That I think he could have been a really cool character, and they kind of just fumbled the bag.
You know what it kind of reminded me of? If Groot got venomized.
Oh, true. That's a good way to put it.
Like, am I crazy for seeing that?
No, because I think that works really well. But yeah, there are definitely aspects in this movie I feel like don't get enough. Kit Harington in this movie, kind of. You like the fact that he's not in there a whole lot, but when I saw Kit Harington was going to be the Black Knight in this movie, I thought he was going to be the Black Knight, not the Professor Whitman or whatever he was.
It's like, I didn't like him in this movie. Like, oh, don't get me wrong, he did a good job in this movie, but it's like, I want more. I want Black Knight now, not later.
Yeah, if you're going to say, oh, I have Kit Harington in this movie, and he's in there for 5 minutes.
He was specifically in there to set up something else.
Right, and that's great and all, but when you say Kit Harington is the Black Knight in your movie, don't give me Professor Kit Harington as fucking goddamn Professor Whitman. I couldn't think of the name. It's 10:30 at night, Preston. I'm getting tired. But yeah, it pissed me off. It actually pissed me off.
So now what I want to get into is like, how would you rate the Eternals from from like top or bottom to top? Like, how would you rank them in terms of like them being interesting, in terms of you liking them, just different stuff like that? How would you rank them?
Well, at the top, I think you have Icarus. I think he's really interesting. I think you have Festus, probably at 2. Athena at 3. Cersei at 4 because they fucking spoon feed you all of her interesting plot lines and whatnot, which, I don't know, as a main character, I think she just kind of sucks as a main character. Let's see, there's 10 of them?
So you got Cersei, Icarus, Athena, Ajax, Kingo, Sprite, Festus, Makari, Durig, and Gilgamesh.
Well, you have every extra on the planet, and then Sprite at the bottom. I just hate Sprite.
All my homies hate Sprite.
All my homies really don't like Sprite.
I guess my ranking for him would be Sprite, and then I'd have...
Are you going bottom to top?
Yes, bottom to top.
I'm like, don't put Sprite at the top.
Cersei.
Please.
I just didn't find her very interesting.
No.
And then I got Durig. Dreeg, yeah. Makari.
Druig.
Then I have Makari. Then I have Gilgamesh. Like Gilgamesh.
Okay. Yeah.
Pretty much now, I like Makari also, but like from Makari up are characters I actually liked. So I got Gilgamesh. Then I got Kingo. I'm kind of in between Kingo and Festus, who I like. So I got Kingo, Festus, Ajax, Icarus, Athena.
Okay. I would agree.
I just like, well, one, it's Angelina Jolie, and two, like, I like her powers.
She's badass.
It kind of reminds me of, like, Skyrim in a way, with, like, the bound swords, and how you can just, like, just use magic to summon any weapon of your choosing. Like, that's sick.
I think that's cool.
Kind of remind me a little bit of Green Lantern also.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would say that's correct.
So, a more Justice League feel like.
it definitely did feel like Justice League. Felt like you were watching a little bit of a Justice League movie.
Yeah. Just with the names changed and a couple other things tweaked.
Yeah, it felt like a filler. It felt like we need something between Shang-Chi and the next Spider-Man movie, which we'll get into. We need something in between there. They're like, the Eternals, and they like threw it in.
We need something to set up like non-Earth stuff, like the non-Earth version of the MCU.
And for being the leader of the Eternals, Cersei just doesn't cut it.
Kind of just don't really care about her, I guess.
Yeah.
And like that's a lot of characters in this movie. You just don't really
what's Kingo's thing? Like what is his thing? What's his motivation for doing anything?
It's like I said, you kind of only care for the characters because of the actors or actresses playing them. Like,
I would agree.
That's kind of my gripe with it. It's like, okay, I like Kit Harington's character because it's Kit Harington. I like Richard Madden's character because it's Richard Madden.
I thought he did great. I really liked Richard Madden in this movie.
I like Kumail Nanjiani because I like
him as an actor. I just didn't like him. I didn't like his character in this movie. Just didn't like it.
So who would you say out of like all of them have the best like character arc throughout the whole thing?
In terms of
just the character being like the most interesting character.
Oh, it's gonna be Icarus. It's not even close. Between him and Festus.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I'd say it goes Icarus, Festus.
Yeah.
And then Ajax, maybe.
I don't like Ajax.
I liked Ajax.
I liked her motivation. But she's not in the movie long enough for me to give a rat's ass about her.
I can agree with you there.
Like somehow did you think it was weird when they made her a cowboy?
It was a little weird.
That was a little weird. There was a lot of weird things in this movie that were kind of like the sex scene.
Yeah, that just kind of felt out of place. And it's plus like
it just didn't need to be shown.
Plus sex in the MCU is just kind of a weird thought.
It's canon! Sex is canon now!
So it's like you've never seen that before in the MCU except Tony Stark in the very first MCU movie.
And it wasn't like a casually implied sex. No, this was sex.
Yeah, this was just sex.
I had to lean over. I had to cover Preston's eyes, guys. I had to lean over. I was like, "Oh, Preston, don't watch this." Oh, you're like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "They're hugging. They're hugging."
I don't know. It just felt weird. Like it was like it's the MCU that never happens.
It just was kind of out of left field. Like they got married, and he's like, "Oh, I really like this girl," and Ajax is like, "Go talk to her.
Yeah.
Go spit some game at her, homie."
Like Ajax is like, well, then go over there.
Exactly. Ajax was your friend at the bar. You're like, oh, that girl's so hot.
It's like, well, then why don't you just go talk to her?
He's like, well, I never thought of that.
It's like, that's a brilliant idea.
And then 20 seconds later, I'm like, bam, 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 sex going on up in hell. Right up in Chia.
Like, in terms of like, what's it called? Like, their second identity, like their secret identity. Who do you think had the best like secret identity?
It pains me to say this. It is gonna someone smack me in the head with a rock, and I'm gonna say this as an answer, and you know who I'm gonna say. Sprite. Sprite probably had a badass like secret identity, because that was her thing. And that's so hard for me to admit, because if I was locked in a room with Sprite, I would bang my head against the wall until I no longer could interpret anything she did. Until I was catatonic.
See, I have to disagree with you there. I like Kingo's like secret identity. It's like
Kingo's
he's like a Bollywood star. That's just
he definitely
funny.
is a Bollywood
and how
star.
he had like 5 generations of just like of his family playing like acting out. It's just him.
Out of all the Eternals, who would you like to have a beer with and why? Or a soda? We're only 20. Or that's right, you gave up pop. What the hell? That's right, you told me you cut soda out of your diet. So
I'm gonna be honest.
What would you even drink? Number one.
I want to sit down and have a beer with Gilgamesh. I just don't want whatever spit booze he made.
Fair enough. I think
like Gilgamesh seems like a chill dude that you could just sit down and crack a beer with.
Kingo seems like he would talk about himself the whole time. Sprite, you'd just be like
Sprite, I wouldn't be able to talk to her.
I'd be like, oh, you are Peter Pan. Go away. I don't like you.
Makari, I can't talk to her because I don't know sign language. It would just be...
Well, maybe you should learn.
It would be us sitting there in silence.
Well, she's always sitting in silence.
Cersei would bore me to death. Cersei would bore me to death. Thena might kill me.
Thena crazy. She
Like,
crazy.
She could just turn any minute and just turn into a homicidal maniac.
That's me. That's literally me.
Icarus can piss off.
Ajax would be good to have a beer with.
Yeah, Ajax would be chill. I just don't think she'd bring a whole lot to the...
She has an existential point of view.
That is true. Like, that's the one thing you can... That's the one good thing about sitting down and having a beer with the Eternals is, like, you could just ask them so many questions about the history.
You're like, what were the Mongols like? They're like, they kind of were shitty.
It's like, so King Arthur was real, huh? I mean, yeah.
I'd ask about Oak Island. Do you know what that is?
Yes, I do know what Oak Island is.
Okay, good.
The History Channel TV show.
We're learning.
And then finally, Festus would be fine to have a beer with.
I agree. He seems
Only
cool.
thing is his kid would probably be there, so it's like...
Ew, kids.
Go away, kid.
Like, ew. Like, we have to have sex to have kids? What? This is so gross.
It's like, yeah, no kids.
Scram, scat, go away.
Get out of here. So should we get in the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer?
Yeah, let's do it.
That just dropped like 2 hours ago.
We were in the theater, got out, looked at our phones while we were waiting for the end credits scene to pop up, which they were both badass. But...
So what were your thoughts on the No Way Home trailer?
I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest Spider-Man guy. I like Spider-Man. I know. Gasp. Avert your ears and eyes to whatever you're doing. But
this was Prestin Sexton signing off.
Like, all right, yeah. Next week we'll be talking about whatever it is we're talking about.
Today next episode we're gonna be talking about why Gabe's wrong in Spider-Man is the greatest superhero of all time.
I like Spider-Man. Don't get me wrong. I like Spider-Man. He's not my favorite. Wolverine is the favorite, baby.
Okay, but real. What did you think about the trailer?
I think it's gonna be a hell of a movie. I think it's gonna be better than the Eternals.
It's gonna be the top grossing movie. Well, actually, it won't be because it releases in December, so it'll probably be one of it'll probably be the top movie of like a year, like of the year. Like if it started like at its release, it'll be like the highest grossing movie
opening weekend.
Yeah,
I would agree. There's a lot to like about it. Obviously, you're gonna get Willem Dafoe, which in my mind he'd make a great Joker. Willem Dafoe would be a great Joker.
Yeah, William Dafoe is like that actor who just steals a scene. Like,
Dude,
no matter who's in like in the movie, he'll steal the scene from them.
I agree, because he has a manic sort of way of being in character. Fun fact: did you know where he's from?
Where?
Wisconsin.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Not Minnesota. Not Minnesota. What do you guys got? You guys got Chris Pratt. Do you know he's from Virginia?
Who?
Chris Pratt.
Nah, he's from Minnesota. We have Winona
Virginia,
Ryder.
Minnesota.
Oh, okay. We have Winona Ryder, which, guess where she's from?
Don't say it.
Winona.
Winona? Not Winona.
Winona, yeah, Winona.
That's a cursed place.
Winona, Minnesota. That's
the dirty Nona.
I mean,
that's a cursed place.
We have Prince.
Winona has Bladeau's. It's a bakery.
I did not know that.
I've only been there once.
We're off topic. Life. Let's get back to Spider-Man.
No, let's keep talking about Bladeau's.
So
cursed place.
So I guess what I liked about the trailer is that they haven't just showed us that, oh, Toby and Andrew are in Spider-Man. It's like, I don't want that. I want to be sitting in the theater and for them to pop on the screen and me be like, oh my God.
And you sit back and you're like, oh my God. And you're like on a roller coaster.
It's like I'm on a roller coaster of emotions.
He's like, I want to cry, but I also want to be so happy.
What do you think about like all the villains that have been set up so far?
Here's the thing. I really like that there's going to be a lot of villains. But what was our problem with the Eternals? There was too many people.
Yes. And I hear
you.
That the Spider-Man movie will be over 2.5 hours long. So it might not be a problem. And they don't have to like kind of show their backstory because we've already seen their backstory. Like, you know what I mean? So we don't need to see like a whole Doc Ock storyline because that was in Spider-Man 2. We don't need to see an Electro storyline. That was in The Amazing Spider-Man. We don't need the Lizard because that was in The Amazing Spider-Man. You don't need a William Dafoe Green Goblin because we've already seen that movie. So I don't think it'll be an issue because, like, it's already established. And last time I checked, there's not 6 villains yet.
No, because he's supposed to go up against the Sinister Six, right?
Yes. So we got Doc Ock, Green Goblin, Electro.
Sandman was in there.
No, he wasn't. He hasn't been hinted at yet.
He was in the trailer.
Was he?
Yes, he was.
I didn't notice him.
Preston, open your damn eyes, man.
Okay, so we got
blind?
Sandman and the Lizard.
Yeah.
That's 5. Who's the 6th?
The Vulture? Or the Scorpion? Or Doctor Strange?
Or is it Venom?
I haven't seen Venom Let There Be Carnage, so no spoilers, please.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna leave it at that.
I'm on my knees.
Like, or is it gonna be? Oh, what's it called? Morbius. That movie's coming out soon.
Yeah, when does that come out?
I don't know. I don't think he'll be in there.
Blade. Blade was in this movie in the Eternals.
It's like, who knows? It could be Mysterio. Who do you think will be the 6th villain?
Oh, well, Jake Gyllenhaal is currently the villain of modern day society at the moment, so I don't think we could handle
Back off, Taylor Swift stands.
Yeah, where are the Swifties? I know they got snipers around here, man. They got snipers everywhere.
What do you mean? Taylor Swift is perfect as a human being. And no, they are not holding a gun up to my head right now.
Oh my God. Why? It's so cool that she's singing a song 10 years later about a relationship she had with a... The hell? How? He is problematic, though. Jake Gyllenhaal is problematic.
Yeah, but it's like, they dated for what, 3 months? And you wrote
10 years ago.
And you wrote a 10-minute song about a relationship that lasted 3 months.
The scarf is an allegory for her virginity.
Oh. Oh, we're off track again.
Preston, it is so late. It is so much past my bedtime right now.
Yeah, this episode's a complete shit show. Well, okay, so who's going to be the 6th villain?
I think it's got to be the Scorpion. Because he was hinted at in Homecoming? Yeah, it is Homecoming. Oh my God,
He was in Homecoming, yeah.
Because he was Mac something.
Yeah.
Well, the Scorpion. He's a Scorpion.
He was a serial killer, and he was in the end credits scene.
Yep.
And it's like, because you got a couple other ones that have been already established. The Tinkerer, he was in Homecoming. You got the guy with the punchy hand things.
That was Electro. No,
the Shocker.
The Shocker. Oh my God, Preston. Oh my God.
It's like, I personally think that it's going to be Vulture. I'm hoping it's Vulture. Because, I mean...
But he's in Morbius, so...
Yes, but he's still in the MCU.
Michael Keaton is a great Vulture.
And yeah, it's Michael Keaton. I want Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton is pretty damn good at the Vulture.
Also, will Andrew and Toby be in this movie?
They're not going to show him, obviously. And Marvel is known to hide things in their trailer with, like, CG. Do I think they're in this movie? Yep. I do. Leave it at that. I think they are. But even if they are or aren't, I don't want to know.
Yeah, me either. And I mean, I'll be a little disappointed if they're not in it. But
no, don't lie.
I'd be disappointed, but it's not gonna let me. It's not. It's not gonna negatively affect my view on the movie if they're not in it.
That's false.
I won't be review bombing it if they're not in it.
No, you mad capping right now.
I'm not.
You are.
Like,
you are so capping. You are lying through the damn skin of your teeth. Dude.
I'm not. Like, if they're not in it, yes, I'll be disappointed, but I'm not gonna review bomb it if it's still a good movie and they're not in it. Fine with me. Now, if it's bad and they're not in it, yes.
Well, now you're gonna be number one internet troll.
Yes.
Like, this movie fucking blows.
Language.
Sorry. My brain is, well, exhausted. It's the McDonald's, bro.
Oh, it's hitting me. Yeah. Well,
Tobey Maguire isn't in this movie, and neither is Andrew Garfield. I don't like it now. That's gonna be you. Just wait, folks. Give it a couple months.
Well, I also think they'll be in the movie. I mean, they kind of already hinted at Tobey Maguire in this movie when Doc Ock took the mask off of Spider-Man and was like, "Oh, you're not my Peter." Like, that's hinting at it like that. Oh, okay, so Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is technically a part of the MCU.
He's canon. I wish we had a cannon. So every time we said that's canon, we go. That's what it would sound like.
Well, Gabe, did you have anything else to say about Eternals or the new Spider-Man trailer?
I'm pretty excited for the new Spider-Man. It's something that my brother and I will probably go watch together. Eternals just not doing it for me. I think it wasn't a bad movie. Not a good Marvel movie. Bottom 10. Not 5. I wouldn't say 5, but it is a low 6 or 7.
Like me and Gabe talked about, like off the mic, was like, it's not as bad as Rotten Tomatoes is saying. It's not like a sub 60% movie.
It was funny. We were walking back to the dorms and we said, "Oh, what would you give it?" And we both said exact same time.
A 65 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yep.
What would be like out of 10? How would you rank it?
I want to say 6.5 because that's 65%.
Yeah, it's like, I'm gonna say it's like
6.5.
I'm gonna say a 6. Yeah, 6.5.
It's like a solid C-.
Yeah, it's a C for me. It's like it's a passing grade.
It's something to watch, and it opens the universe up quite a bit. However, they could have done a lot more with it than they did, and by having the Eternal. Here's the thing: is the Avengers work well because they give their characters, the major characters, major screen time, and they're well established already.
In their own solo movies.
Right. And would you go watch like an Icarus solo movie?
I would, because I like Icarus.
I would too. Would you watch a Cersei solo movie?
Probably not.
I'd watch it.
Like, I'd watch Athena movie.
I'd watch an
of her
Angelina Jolie movie.
I'd watch Athena movie of her just being the god of war.
I'd just watch Angelina Jolie, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, baby. That's where it's at. That's where it's at.
Well, Gabe, you want to sign him off then?
Oh, goodness me. Preston, it is 2 hours past my bedtime. I'm kidding, folks. I go to bed at 10-ish. Anywho, this has been the third episode of the Prestin Sexton podcast, episode 3, coming at you. Not sure what we're going to title it yet.
Probably Eternals review or something basic like that.
Perhaps something along those lines, but be sure to follow us on Spotify. Give us that follow. Smash that subscribe button on YouTube for all of the Prestin Sexton content you could ever dream of.
Our goal is to get to 15 subscribers by next episode.
Yeah, aim small, miss small, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So with that has been the third episode, folks. Take her easy, good night, and good luck.